Today's verse of the day, John chapter 16, verse 33. I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Put all your problems and ball them up and release them. There's no point in worrying, being fearful, and anxious about your problems. Everything you're dealing with right now in this very moment is a part of God's plan, is a part of the plan that God has for you. You have to release the worry, you have to release the fear, the anxiety, the uncertainty of what if this doesn't work, what if this, what if that, what if. You have to release all those worries and let God handle those problems. He's been through it before for you. He sacrificed himself for you to be able to make mistakes, to be able to mess up and be human. So you have to release the worry and still show up and take actions that are necessary, but don't overthink and get mentally fulfilled by negativity and consumed with just the negativity and all the things that are going wrong in life, because that's not what it's about. You have to take yourself out of that mindset and compartmentalize and separate what you're thinking about and think about what is going to help move the ball forward, move the needle forward. What's going to help you get further along? Worrying or taking the actions and moving forward? Worrying is not going to do it. So you have to be able to not think about the negativity so much that it causes you to be at a standstill. Because a lot of times, a lot of people just get stuck in their fear of moving forward because of all the failure they might have faced, the trauma from the mistakes that they've had encountered before, the trauma from the losses or the things that they did before that didn't work. Things are not going to work off rip at times. That's just normal. You have to still show up and take the action so that you can possibly see the results over time. But if you stop, then you guarantee will not see the results. So release all your fear into God and take the actions. With that being said, let's get to the charts. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Here we have the Monday chart loaded up on the QQQ chart, 5-minute time frame. Going into this week, we had a pretty range-bound session. We ranged between 664 and 661 to 660.5. So initially we had set up our orb levels here, as you guys see. Rejecting off of that 664 level, we saw failure going down all the way as low as 660.69. From there, we had a strong reversal going back up into the same range, but failing to get back above these EMAs. This is where I look to take a position after seeing failure and hold below these EMAs. I took a position where I was then able to capture a move back down to the orb low, taking majority profits and then getting trailed out. After this particular trade, I was then in a very unfortunate position because I was just taking a lot of, pretty much after that trade I was up, but I was still bearish on the day. So I thought that we would see lower, but then that's when the range bound movement started to happen. And I kept re-entering positions with smaller sizing, and we were able to see failure, but we weren't able to see the failure that I wanted to see because we kept getting these very weird wicks. As you guys see here, we had a wick there that pretty much wicked me out of my position, stopped me out. Then we wicked here, and we caught another position here, and then we were able to catch this move down. But then I wanted to see continuation, and so once I tried to get the continuation move and added size back to my position, we got stopped out on this candle here, as you guys see. So very, very unfortunate price action for me. And after the fact, the right idea, but the wrong time, essentially. We were having the right execution on the plays that we were capturing, but then we would get a loss to match the gain. And so essentially just over trading, in my opinion, because had I just, taken this trade and then captured this move and stopped trading after this at 10:20, everything would have been smooth. But I was not satisfied with my profit made on the day. So in result, I tried to make more and I ended up losing more than I was supposed to. And we turned a green day into a red day, essentially. So it was very unfortunate price action for me that day, very unfortunate execution for me that day. And so I had to walk away from Monday taking an L simply due to the fact that we just overtraded. So that's the one thing about trading, you guys. Be sure that you're not overdoing it. You don't need to do a lot. You don't need to take a lot of plays in the market to see a result. I saw a result that I wasn't satisfied with, so I wanted to take more trades. And within that process of me taking more trades, I ended up losing the money that I made. So you have to just kind of know when to say when to walk away, especially on days like Monday where the price action isn't as strong. And so that was our session on Monday. Now let's move on to Tuesday and talk about what trades we took on Tuesday. All right, you guys, here we have the Tuesday chart loaded back on the QQQ chart. Taking what I did into consideration on Monday, I decided to slow everything down, my approach, my ideas, and just take very quality actions in the market. And so that's what I did going into Tuesday. We had a gap down going into Tuesday. And so I looked at that as opportunity to look for failure. So we retested this level here at 659.64. Saw failure come in. Once we saw failure come in, I waited it out just to confirm that there was failure. And I did see that, okay, we were filling this level here. So I used that candle high as a stop loss after we were reapproaching this level. And I got in this position here at 905. From here, we were able to capture this move back below the EMAs, selling right around here at this level because I saw that we were wicking here on this level. So that was my first take profit level here. And then I targeted the orb lows, which we were able to hit. And from there, we just had a very, very easy flowing day on the selling side, but I ended up taking full profit once we reached down to this orb low here. So I was very happy with my execution today or on Tuesday. And way better approach to Tuesday than it was on Monday. Had I just, taken the simple one and done trade like I did on Tuesday, things would have been better for me on Monday, but that was not the case. And that was the case on Tuesday. So I was very happy with that. Later in the day, we did reverse and go back above the orb low, reaching back up to the orb high, failing again. And that was the session for Tuesday. So now let's talk about Wednesday's session and what trades we took on Wednesday. All right, ladies and gents, here we have the Wednesday chart loaded on the SPY chart, 5-minute time frame. So Wednesday was the FOMC meeting, and we also had a lot of earnings this week from major tech companies like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple. Every company you could think of tech-wise had earnings this week. So Wednesday and Thursday were the two big earning days after market. And so I wasn't expecting much of a session, but I was still kind of over trading that day too. It was like a back and forth for me this week. I went over trading to quality trades on one day to over trading on another day. And so Wednesday was one of those days we had initially started really well in the market. We set our orbs here at 711.15 and 710 essentially. Failing to get back below this orb here, I used this candle as a stop loss. I was able to capture the move back into the EMAs. I did think we would reject the EMA, so I took profit once we saw the retest of this level. And then I was trying to see a reversal for some reason go down back lower, but then we started to push higher, and that stopped me out of my position. And from there we pushed higher and higher and higher and higher until we reached all the way up to 712.5. And then we saw a reversal that we were looking for. By then I did see this, I did capture this move as well, but I was trying to flip. I kept flipping buys essentially. I don't know why I wasn't confident in the market moving one direction, but I did continue to flip buys each time we reached a certain level. So like each time we reached an EMA, I felt like the EMAs would be respected for some reason. And so I would flip buys after reaching the EMA. That was my target to sell. And then I would flip buys and try to get on the opposite side of the trade. So I went from sells here to calls here. And then the same thing over here. I went from calls here to sales here, and then we failed each time. So every time that happened, we were just missing out on the opportunities. And so we got stopped out on our losses. And I did size down, but I kept re-entering, trying to see the move go back in my favor. And that's what ate my profit away. So once again, overtrading is not necessary. Quality trades. This was a quality trade and this was a quality trade. We caught the top and the bottom of the market session, but we didn't capitalize on it or realize the capital that we gained on it because of our lack of execution on the flip side when it comes to re-entering said setups. So all in all, it was an L day for me, and that was very unfortunate, but we were having the same mindset as Tuesday, like, okay, going into Thursday, I'm going to do better, which I believe we did. So let's talk about Thursday's trades and what we took. What's going on, y'all? I just want to say thank you all for watching. If you guys are new, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Also, turn on the notification bell. And if you guys want to learn more about how to day trade, I have a free day trading course on my website at www.continuebelief.com. There you'll get all the information and resources needed to help you guys learn more on your journey to day trading. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's get back to it. All right, y'all, I lied. Thursday was not a good day. After looking back on the recap, I had an initial start that was good, but then once again, we overtraded and we were getting caught in this chop down here after failing below the orb. There are a lot of lines right here because as you guys see, all these lines that you see are orb lines. And so this is the range that we were in all week long. So we initially held the orb, which I caught the reversal off of that, got stopped out of my runners, tried to see another retest and hold of it. Then I got stopped out of that entry. From there, we tried to take puts, but then we got wicked out of our entry on puts because we went back above our orb low. My stop loss was the orb low. From there, we went back down lower, seeing that move, but I didn't capture this. So I think I was done trading around this time, but then I got back in the market later, trying to see a failure of these highs over here, the pre-market high, which we failed to hold below, so I got stopped out again. Then I took a position here where I captured a decent move. After seeing this pin bar candle start to form, I used that candle as a stop loss. I was able to capture the move to the downside here and make a little bit of money back. So I didn't lose as much as I was down, but I did end up losing due to the overtrading and just due to simply not having the right conviction in the market on this particular day. And as you guys know, Thursday is not really a good day for me anyway, so I really was not supposed to be trading as much as I did, but I did have good risk management, so I wasn't too upset with myself, but I still was upset with myself and just my performance on the Thursday. And overall week, honestly, because a lot of these days I was green, I just went red due to me not having the simple satisfaction of not taking any more trades. You got to be satisfied and content with your trades. Take your wins and walk away. It's never a bad thing to end the day green. Remember that. But with that being said, let's move on to Friday and talk about what trades we took on Friday. All right, ladies and gents, and here we have the Friday chart loaded up. And honestly, it was just a one and done simple trade that we were unable to capitalize off of. I'm recording now. What's up?
You said what?
I'm recording it right now. Let me call you back.
Okay. But I won't be there in 15 minutes. Whenever you get her situated, you have to come out to the studio.
All right.
All right, bye.
All right, ladies and gents, and here we have the Friday chart loaded up on the QQQ chart, 5-minute time frame. And honestly, guys, it was just a one and done trade for me. We were unable to capitalize off of this this upside move because we were bearish. I thought that the market was going to fail after forming the orb levels here. I felt that the market was very, very overextended, and I thought that we were going to see failure below this orb high. And we just were not able to hold below it. However, we did see failure later in the day, but by the time I was no longer looking to trade, and I did define this level for next week, which we'll talk about going into our predictions for next week. You see that this level just held and rejected all day long, which is right around 676. So We saw this 676 failure be very effective throughout the day, but we were holding 673, so that might be a range to watch going into next week, which we will talk about here shortly. But yeah, my essential trade that I took was the failure of this orb high. We got wicked out of it twice, and by that time I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna call it a week, and wrap up this week as an L for me, because I just didn't have the proper execution on the quality side. I was doing a lot more trades than I was supposed to, and so within that, I just wasn't really mentally fatigued essentially, and so I just didn't want to give back any gains of the month that we already had. We had a pretty good month, and so I didn't want to give back any more gains that we already had due to the week that I've had this week. So I was like, you know what, I'll just wrap it up, call it a week. We'll come back stronger in May and do better going into the month of May. So with that being said, let's talk about what levels we can watch going into this first week of May. All right, ladies and gents, here we have the SPY chart loaded up on the 4-hour time frame. And as you guys see, we had another push higher, breaking above my expectations, which I thought was 720. We reached 720 on Thursday and closed right around 718, but then in the aftermarket, in the post-market, pre-market, we gapped up above 720 and opened at 721.25, reaching up all the way towards 724.87, then seeing a rejection going back down lower and closing out the day at 720.56. So what can we expect to watch going into next week? What are the levels to watch for next week? The levels to watch for next week, in my opinion, are going to be, let's take a look at this. Let's zoom out a little bit. All right, so you guys see the 712.50s. You guys see the 716 levels. Those levels are pretty clean for the most part. Thursday, it shook me out a little bit. I was thinking that we were gonna fail due to the failure of holding that 712.50, but then we had a strong reversal, which was crazy. But I think that if we had a very easy flowing move up, I think we have an easy flowing move down sometime this week. I don't know if it'll happen in the beginning of the week, but I think sometime this week we'll have an easy flowing move down. So I think from 725, we can see a push back down to 716. I think if we can get a retest of 716 and hold, we can then reverse and go back up, seeing a retest of 720. We break back above 720, we can see a push higher going back to 725. However, if we fail to hold 716, I think that we can push back down to 712.5. If we fail to hold above 712.5, we can push back down to 709. If we fail to hold 709, we can see a push back down going to 706. So these will be my levels to watch going into SPY and going into next week. 716 is going to be that line in the sand. As long as we hold above 716, I think that we can have conviction to go higher. But if we fail below 716, we can see lower. So keep an eye out for how the market responds to the retest of 716. Does it hold or does it fail? And then if we are holding still above 720 going into the beginning of this week, then you want to see it hold above 720. But just for my comfort, I would want to see it pull back to 716. That would give me better conviction to possibly take more upside on this move. So yeah, comment below your thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think the market's going to go up more this week or go down? I believe AMD reports next week, and then NVIDIA reports sometime this month. So there are a lot more companies that are reporting that have been running really aggressively. So you want to keep an eye out for those companies and their reports. But with that being said, this will conclude today's episode. I appreciate you all for watching so much. If you guys are new, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Comment below what stocks you guys are looking to trade next week. Also turn on the notification bell if you guys are new. I appreciate you all for watching. And some words of wisdom: be strong and be brave in this month of May. You know, if you're having a slow start to the year of 2026, don't think that you're behind in the point where you can't, get back on track and get back to winning enough to see the success. I had a very, very bad week this week, but I'm not defining that as my overall year. You know, we still have 8 months in a year to go hard and do great things. So do great things, be tough, be strong. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next week. Tune in tomorrow for the Rich Off Games podcast at 7 o'clock. I'm sorry, 6:30. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week.